If you're watching this video before January 15th, listen up. We are currently partnering with ARM Motorsports to do a giveaway, so head to this video up here to get more information. All right, what are we doing today, Tyler?
All right, so we are going to be installing STXA coilovers on my Mk7.5. These are pretty good coils. They're made by KW. The only difference is that these are not stainless steel. I forget what metal they're made out of. So they're a little more prone to like weather damage, but it's whatever. They're great coils for the price. And I also got a set of wheels yesterday. We didn't know that was gonna be happening, but the GTI is finally getting lowered on wheels. So let's get into it.
All right, so we're starting on the front right. Tyler, what's our game plan for this?
So we're gonna definitely not reference other YouTube videos while doing it, but basically we're just starting on this front here. We're taking off, I don't even know what they're called. I can just point at the bolts. So it's a triple square that's right here. It's where, what is that called?
Right in there.
Yeah. So you take this out, and then you use it's the strut. Yeah, you gotta use a strut spreader. That's what it is. You use a strut spreader after you take this off, and then you take off like 3 bolts down here. You disconnect it from the transmission, and then you take off the bolts that hold the stock suspension, the top hat. And yeah, it's
we're professionals.
Yep, we do this for a living.
Yep. But yeah, this isn't our first time working on suspension for this platform. We've done Vincent's lowering springs initially, that I'll link here, as well as his air suspension. And then we've also done, we've done lowering springs and upgraded shocks on my Mark 6 as well. So hopefully this should be one of our smoother installs, but we'll see how that goes. Essentially, this nut right here is just free spinning, and it won't disconnect the end link from the strut tower. So we're gonna basically repeat what we did in that video, and we gotta go get a replacement end link for both fronts. The driver's side one came off, which was the opposite of my car. We got the passenger one off, but not the driver's side. But we're just gonna go get new end links, and then when we get back, we're gonna take some power tools to this thing and forcibly remove it. All right, we're back from AutoZone. We got some good old reliable Duralast sway bar end links. That one's on the ground. There we go. All right, so hopefully these ones shouldn't strip on us. I don't think they should. I guess we'll tell when we get the old ones out. But yeah, now walk over. All right. So what are you
So I'm gonna disconnect
thinking?
the bottom first, and then after the bottom's off, I'm just gonna get the top off with an angle grinder.
Hey, that's nice. That one coming off?
Almost.
Kind of.
It's stuck on the end though. There we go.
So now that we're like 1 for 2 on sway bar end links, I'm gonna recommend anyone wanting to do suspension work on theirs, just pick up some new end links. They don't have to be the fanciest in the world.
Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck in this predicament where it just spins.
Yep. So slight change of plans. We referenced our old video of how we dealt with this, so we're actually just gonna take out the strut tower first, and then once it's on the ground, we'll cut out the old one. So I think Tyler just flung something.
Yeah, it's like one of those clips that holds down that plastic cover. I didn't realize that were a thing.
Yeah, nice. So now we're on to the top hat bolts. So there's just these 3 bolts right here. Undo those, and then I think then after that is the spreader.
The spreader.
Spreading.
Gotta drop this.
Yep. Okay. the front passenger strut out. We definitely went about this a bit of a harder way. So right now, just a quick little update. Tyler is using our spring compressor because for these ST coilovers that we got for Tyler's Mk7.5, you have to reuse the top hats from the stock struts. So we're removing that bit right there. You can see by my blurry finger. But we essentially just wrestled the knuckle to get the strut out. The proper way of doing this, which we will be doing for the driver's side, is leaving in the top hat bolts and then using that and then just pulling down on the knuckle instead of having both of them loose, trying to pull up on the strut and down on the wheel knuckle. So lesson learned. We'll be doing that for the other side. So now
Coilover, baby.
1 of 4.
Well, only one has to be put together like this, thankfully.
That's true.
One more, I should say.
So passenger front is ready to go back in, really.
Yes, it is.
Do you want to do any sort of adjusting with the height before we put it back in?
So I was thinking about that. I think I'm going to start with like the minimal drop. So I'm going to just compare this one to the other one just to make sure that they're even. And then I think I'll just send it at that. I'm going to count the threads. And then we'll start with, I think this is like literally barely dropped. It's got like a mil or two, probably 2 millimeters. So I'm just going to do very light drop to start. And then, yeah, we'll adjust from there.
And would you look at that? So passenger front side strut is in. We did have a little bit of an issue when orienting the top hat bolts. So just getting the actual top hat oriented right did take a little bit of a trial and error of loosening and retightening. Took a little bit longer than we wanted. So then we got the strut in. Next step was to seat the bolts into the lower control arm and then just put the nuts back on to tighten it. So everything's kind of lined up. And now we're going to be using the floor jack that we have right here to basically push in the knuckle into the strut. Okay, so we finally got this strut tower in. It took some lube and a transmission jack and a lot of wiggling, and it finally got in. So now we're on to the sway bar end links, and I think that's it, right? And obviously torque everything up, but I think
we just got to put the bolt in on this, reconnect the joint.
Oh, we got to do the axle.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that's it. We got to put these 3 bolts in, or those are already on. We just got to finish torquing those
down. And then, yeah, the axle back there.
Let's try rotating it here. Other way. Back a tiny bit. Tiny bit more. Tiny, like touch. There. There we go. I think that grabbed thread.
One continuous clip.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck editing.
We'll edit in post.
You're fucking dick.
It's fine, there's been nothing usable so far. Alright, so we got the axle bolted back up to the transmission, which means this side is done. So strut is in. We didn't take out any of the fender liner, so we don't have to worry about that.
You know what that means.
God.
Got one more side, baby.
So yeah, so now we move on. All right, so now we're moving on to the rear. We got to remove the.
As much as I'm removing it. Fender liner.
The fender liner. And yeah, so now we gotta. It's a little dark in there, but there's the strut tower. You can kind of see the shock right there, and then the spring right there. So on the passenger side of things, you have this evap canister that you have to remove to get at the shock. So there's just one, what is that, a 13? Like a 13, and then a little clip up. Can't really, it's like right there. You just gotta undo, and then you get access to both bolts. We got the rear shock out, and now Tyler's been busy working on these 3 bolts that you gotta get out on the lower control arm. Can't see because your big head's in the way.
My big giant cranium.
Yeah. It's too dark for the camera to focus. Oh, there we go. So yeah, so there's one there. There's one there that's already been removed, and then one that went there, but the lower control arm is sunk a little bit. Once that lowers, then we can take the spring out, and then just do all this in reverse. New shock is in, bolted up top, not torqued down all the way yet, and the new spring is in. So now, these ones?
Yes, now
Listen.
we do that.
Alright, so I just did all that in slow-mo, but basically everything is bolted in and torqued down. You can see the rears, the shock, and then the spring, and then the evap system is back in place. We just have to do the fender liner. But yeah, a lot easier than the fronts. I think Tyler would agree with that.
Let me tell you, doing the fronts makes you contemplate things, while doing the rear is a lot easier. Like, it was a breeze. The fronts, on the other hand, I wanted to die.
So now fender liner is back in. So now we're gonna rotate over here. And now we're gonna start working on this side. And maybe with a little bit of editing magic, we can fast forward this to be done. And just like that, this side is done. So the shock is in, spring is around here. There it is, and everything is bolted back up and torqued down. So now we're on to the last one, which is the driver front. All right, so we just broke a bolt in half. Didn't look that rusted, but upon further inspection, there's quite a bit of rust going on. So this side was supposed to be easy because we take all the lessons we learned from over there and apply it here. But now we got to figure this out. All right, so some time has passed.
Quite a bit of time
from the last clip. So the last clip is basically some bolts broke.
Depression is
so Tyler, what happened?
All right, so we were trying to take off the ball joint down here from this control arm, and instead of loosening, we were tightening. And you know, it was moving, so I kind of thought, hey, maybe it's just really tight or rusted on. No, it was just tightening really tight, and then it's 2 of them snapped.
Do you have the old ball joint?
Yes, it is in this box. So, get it out this little baggie. So as you can see, there are 2 snapped bolts. So, thank God Matthew and Josh were here, and they were able to locate a new ball joint about 30 minutes away. So we went and grabbed that, and we are back in action now. So we're just finishing up that side. Everything's all done. Just got to connect the whatever the thing is to the transmission, whatever that thing is.
The axle.
Yep, the axle to the transmission. And after that's done, we are done with the coilovers. I'll just need to adjust them a little lower, you know. Maybe depends on what they're sitting at, but yeah, just about done. It's been a long time coming. This is longer than turbo install.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yep. All right, so yeah, just finishing tightening up those and then throwing the wheels on. car's done. What
done.
are your thoughts?
I have decided I will probably never do suspension again. That shit was ass. There were a couple hiccups that caused us quite a bit more time than expected. What was crazy is that suspension took longer than a turbo, so that kind of blew my mind a little bit, but it is done.
So let's see. Our first hiccup was getting the front strut back in.
Yep.
So make sure you have a strut spreader,
yeah.
Spreader.
You need a strut spreader.
Some lube may help with that.
Some lube will help. And then the second hiccup was we snapped off 2 of the fucking bolts on the ball joint. So thankfully there was a O'Reilly's with one of my ball joints like 40 minutes away. So Matthew and Josh were able to go get that while I finished up that side of the coilover. But yeah, it was a very unexpected hiccup that sucked. But it's good now. We're all good.
Yeah. So realistically, probably a 7-hour job, 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. I'd say.
Expect some little hang-ups here and there, but yeah.
Overall, not too bad.
Car looks great. Saw on the B-roll, and yeah, once you get it dialed in, we'll do a little revisit.
Yes, I
front's
need to lower
a little
the front.
high.
Yeah, the front needs to go a little lower, at least a ½ inch at least. But yeah, the back's looking pretty good, but front needs low.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching this install video. I think we're basically done with your car.
Yeah, just about.
Maybe a few things here or there.
Yeah, there might be some little things that I do, but for the most part, yeah, I'm probably done spending money. Maybe high pressure fuel pump at E85, but that's it. That's last.
Those are relatively easy.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.